I don't think so. It's hard to argue that any of this spending is necessary. When you look at the bill, I don't think that it was a great deal for the American taxpayer. Everyone's going to say, well, there were money that came to my district, but if you get $1 billion on a $1.2 trillion bill, you have to ask yourself as a member of Congress, was that a real good deal for the American taxpayer? And in my opinion, the answer is clearly no.
What do you say to people who have concerns that your health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government?
I say it's ridiculous. It's like saying that, we're the idea that the fact that there's a public option that people can choose, that makes it a socialist plan. Look, the difference between the president, I think health care is not a privilege, it's a right.
Since the founding of this country, there has been an ongoing debate about the power of the federal government. It all began with the Federalists who supported the Constitution and the Anti-Federalists who didn't. Many Americans feared centralized power due to their time as a British colony, and this fear has persisted throughout our country's history. Those who advocate for states' rights and less federal government involvement are simply continuing the same debate. The real question is, who has won this debate so far?
What is your name?
Owen Andrews.
And what is your grade?
I'm a senior.
And how have federal government programs affected you and your family?
To be honest, I can't think of a way that the federal government has impacted my life besides having to do taxes during tax season.
My name is Adam Chrumka.
And what is your grade?
I'm a senior.
How have federal government programs affected you and your family?
To my knowledge, very little, other than current COVID conditions.
Yeah.
But other than that, not much.
Thank you.
So, how have federal government programs affected your life?
So, growing up, when I was about 9, my parents had to get divorced because my father had schizophrenia, and then my mother had to take care of 5 kids on her own. So we moved to a housing project. So I guess that was one way, because we were in federally subsidized housing. We also received welfare benefits and what was called food stamps at the time. I think it's SNAP now. And without that, we really would have, I don't know what would have happened, but I focused on school, did well in school, and ended up going to a pretty good school in the end and becoming a chemical engineer and meeting my husband. And none of that would have happened, I don't think, if not for government programs upholding our family, basically, or keeping us afloat, essentially.
Do you think that federal government programs affect people more than they realize?
Absolutely. There's a great book called The Submerged State by Suzanne Mettler talking about this idea that people have no understanding just how many benefits they receive from the government. There's the famous quote, "Keep the government's hands off my Medicare," about the idea that people don't even realize that Medicare is a government program. But when it comes to help going to college, grants, Pell Grants, when it comes to the interest mortgage deduction, that is huge and really significant. There are so many programs helping all types of Americans. There's a great quote from Martin Luther King Jr. about the idea that when poor people receive benefits from the government, it's called welfare. When middle class people receive it, it's called subsidies.
Would you say that at the moment the federal government is doing enough in terms of helping people in need, or do you think they should be doing more?
I think they could do more. I mean, I like the idea of the Build Back Better. I'm not saying it's a perfect program or a perfect, bill, but I mean, the idea, whether it's things like helping to rebuild bridges or buildings, or, I mean, it's not like FDR's New Deal program. We're not in a financial crisis, but I mean, you hear these stories about, these buildings falling apart. Gee, like the one I'm in, or, bridges that tend to fall apart. And, why did that happen? Because we didn't invest the money.
A lot of people in our communities have connections to government programs that they don't even realize. So many people are out of touch with these programs, including those who receive their benefits. The federal government has helped many people in the past and present, and we hope that they will expand on these efforts in the future. After all, without these programs, it's possible that we wouldn't even be here.